Okay, Julien, we're ready to go.
Cool. Okay, do you see my screen? Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. So I will introduce you in a few minutes how MAVA Foundation is using open standards in a day-to-day basis. So we are applying the principle of adaptive management and using the open standard, but I will introduce you what are the tools we've made and how we are using it in our daily work. So first, a few words on our foundation. So MAVA Foundation is a Swiss foundation created by this guy on the picture, Luc Hoffmann. He was the founder of the foundation. Luc passed away 2 years ago, but the foundation has been created on his own values. So Luc was a passionate conservationist, a birder, a bird watcher, did a lot of work in the 50s, 60s for the creation of WWF and IUCN. So really engaged in the conservation world. And then the foundation has been created in '94. And we are now in a very, very specific phase of the foundation because we are closing down the foundation in 2022. So, and this closing down has driven the design of our last strategy cycle. And for this last cycle, we decided to use the open standard for shaping this new strategy. Just a few words about the foundation. So now we are running 250 projects with 150 partners, and we have a budget of 60 million Swiss francs per year. I think it's 50 million euros, and I don't really know about Australian dollars, but then you have an idea of the volume of projects implemented or funded by the foundation. We have projects divided in 3 regional programs, so in West Africa, in the Mediterranean basin, and in Switzerland, and we have a global project on sustainable economy. So, as I said, we are closing down in 2022, and we decided to focus on outcomes to be outcomes in 2022. And we decided to, we took a first decision. We decided to completely change our approach to funding projects. If I can summarize, in the last year, we were funding projects that were aligned with a strategy which was basically one-page strategy, just saying that the MAVA Foundation is interested in fund conservation projects that benefits to species, habitats, resources. So basically one page of objectives and several indications for the applicants. But now we decided something. We decided to align all the projects we are going to fund to specific outcomes in 2022. And we decided that it can happen if we fund the project around outcome action plans. So we have worked hard on outcome action plans, which are now documents of 15 pages describing our approach, what are the outcomes we are going to reach in 2022, what kind of strategy we would like to fund, etc., etc. So the first challenge for us was a real cultural change within the foundation, and it's very close to what Richard said a few minutes ago. So having people willing to engage in this change within the team of the foundation was our first challenge. So how our planning process works. So you perfectly know this diagram. So we use the Rezo chains theory of change to design these outcome action plans. So we've started to engage discussions with our partners, our grantees, to first identify what are the targets where the foundation should be engaged. And we had the first workshop back in 2015, identifying the targets, our conservation targets. and they say that the MAVA Foundation should continue to fund projects on vulture conservation, marine species conservation, etc., etc. So we have identified our targets, and then our threats, our outcomes, on what threats we are going to engage the foundation. And then we have identified several outcomes. For instance, for the marine program, we are much more now focused on fisheries rather than on marine traffic or noise pollution. So we have decided to narrow down our approach and to focus on specific threats. And then we had the third workshop with our partners to identify how we are going to do it and to shape our action plans. So we had identified a lot of strategies. We are going to build capacities, raise awareness, knowledge, etc. So all the things you know. And we also have this theory of change with the results and the result chain, explaining our approach. This was a bit top-down approach. So at the level of the foundation, identifying the direction on what are we going to work for the following years. And our challenge was also to link this with a bottom-up approach. What are the priorities for the partners, for the future grantees, for the regions, West Africa, Mediterranean? So where are the priorities? And then we had another phase discussing with the on-the-ground partners to identify what would be the specific objectives that will fit into these action plans. So we made a tour with the different partners in the different regions, discussing the different threats, and then we had our specific objectives. Our idea was to have a good monitoring plan in place by the end of 2017, and we are almost at the mid of 2018, and we are not yet there. So it's a long process. We started to shape our new strategy in 2015. So it's 2.5 years now, and we are almost at the end of the shaping phase. So it takes time, and I will come back on it at the end. What was really helpful for the foundation was also to have good open standard coaches following us, helping us, and encouraging us. So it was we had coaches within the team, but also we still have an external support from a Foundation of Success, and it's really helpful for us to have this methodological help to structure our approach. What was also really helpful as a donor was to also do a landscape analysis. What are the others doing? What are the other foundation, other donors doing? Just to also place our outcome action plans in these landscapes of project and partners. I will give you a bit of an example of one outcome action plan. So, for instance, we have one action plan in the Mediterranean, which is called Reconciling Fisheries and Biodiversity. It's about bycatch of sea turtles, seabirds, conservation work on the habitats, etc. So, trying to reduce the pressure on fishing on biodiversity. So we have our scope. So it's the Mediterranean with priority areas in the Med. We have our conservation targets, the species, the coastal habitats, and we have our action plan, which is a result chain. So I will not go in detail on the result chain, but it's standard, as you have seen a lot of this kind of result chain. So with the strategies, and basically it says that the foundation is about to fund projects that contribute to knowledge, to find technical solutions, and to also support management solution, and also to support projects on markets on the market side. So with this result chain, we started to just fit to the three basic adaptive management questions. How do we select the right project to reach our goals? How do we monitor this project? Are the projects we are funding doing well? And very important for us now, how the project we are funding achieving an impact together. And this together is very important because we are going to assess the impact of all the projects together. And in the past, it was assessing the impacts in the project in parallel. So it's one of the main change with this approach. So to respond to the first question, we took our result chains and we evaluated the project that were submitted by the grantees, and we were just evaluating if they were contributing to the result chain. So once we've made our evaluation process, we are now able to place all the projects inside each of the result chains. So we have projects on science, we have projects on capacity building, etc., etc. So for us, it gives you provide a good overview of our portfolio project, and now we are sure that all the projects are aligned with the same objective. And then, thanks to the landscape analysis I mentioned earlier, we are also able to place the projects that are funded by the other donors or other agencies. So then it really also helps us to understand how the project funded by the foundation interacts with the other project. What are the synergies we can find between the different partners, not only our grantees, but also the other partners. So it's really powerful tool for us to have these result chains. I'm moving a bit faster because I think I'm too long. Other project we are funding doing well. So we have result chains, we have outcomes, we have our strategies, and we have our projects along with our result chain and contributing to the strategies. And then we are also doing a lot of evaluation work, ranking, analyzing the projects, so analyzing the strategies, how they're doing, how the projects are doing. So to respond to the second question, and then also we are assessing the impacts of the project. What are the results? But just by doing this, you can see that, for instance, this is just an example, but we are now evaluating the progress and the impacts of 5 projects together, for instance. So this is also a really interesting tool for us to discuss all the projects together. Then we are questioning our result chain, our theory of change, but we are not doing it at the level of the foundation, just by myself or with my colleagues. We are doing it through steering groups. Steering groups made of our partners plus relevant experts. So they are analyzing, they are meeting once a year, and they are looking at the impact of that project together and discuss the results, and also discuss if they need an adaptation, etc., etc. And I can say that one of the key challenges of this approach is to have good steering groups. Because, for instance, when we have an outcome action plan with 15 projects, all of them are not open standard experts. We might have 1 or 2 that know about open standard, but it's really hard work also to shape these steering groups to have all of the partners understand the approach and be convinced about the approach. And we had a training workshop with them a few weeks ago, just to get organized and to be sure that everybody they are at the same page. And then the last slide about how we are organized internally to implement this adaptive management, because it's all about adaptive management. So it's a kind of an iceberg. We have a lot of things happening below the surface. So you have the project teams. They are, of course, doing their job, implementing the project, but then they meet through the steering committees. They discuss the impact of the project together, and then they reach the surface and they are making recommendations to the foundation, maybe for adaptations. So they say this is going well, or this is maybe not going so in the right direction. We need to change our strategy, and we propose to the foundation that we will adapt our approach. And then we have a process at the level of the foundation to be sure that we can respond to the recommendation, to analyze them, and then to accept or maybe provide, but to analyze the proposal they do, and then to come back to them with a response about the proposal. So this is how it works internally, but it's all about adaptive management. So it's one of the key principle of the foundation now, is to be flexible and to accept that we can also change some of the projects that have been approved at the start. So lessons learned. Really, this new approach for us was it's really powerful, and it has a real convening power for a donor. Just you have all the partners engaged in the same discussions, in the same direction, and willing to collaborate. So it was really interesting and really exciting to start this approach using open standards. And it's a real multi-stakeholder approach, because have you seen, for instance, the landscape analysis? You have a good understanding of who is doing what and where, and how we can find synergies. And also introducing this outcome action plan, the different project was also very clear to other partners and to other donors. And it is, I think, much more easier to engage them, or maybe to find new collaboration. And it has improved the quality of our projects. I can mention we had some projects that were submitted at the beginning that were not really aligned or not really collaborative, but then along the process they find synergies, how to collaborate with other partners. So, and at the end the project were really good. But 2 years to shape a 6-year program, so it's a lot of effort. We also had to accept some kind of uncertainty, because we didn't stop the foundation during 2 years, and we were also funding project all along. So we had also to accept that we were funding project at the beginning, as the process, the strategy was not already finalized. And also we did this landscape analysis, maybe not at the early stages, but along the process, when we realized that it was really important. And I think one of the recommendations was to start by this before shaping this kind of new approach for a donor. That's it. I hope I was not too long. Unfortunately, I cannot stay until the end of the session. I will not be able to discuss to be there at the discussion panel. So if you have specific questions regarding my presentation, please give them to Arlyne or Catherine, or send it by email. I will be happy to respond by email afterwards. And thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much, Julien.